Hey everybody, welcome back to Dev Parkour. I'm Brian Parks, and in this video I want to talk through my game plan for this Glassminnow project that I've been working on. I've talked about what it is, I've shown a little demo of it in some previous videos, but starting next week I'm really going to dive in and actually start making some improvements. So I wanted to talk through kind of the steps and the phases that I was going to go through to do that. And I kind of divided my plan into five steps. The first one being probably where most of the scalability work is going to be. So I'm terming that scalability. Now in that phase, I'm starting with, actually first, in the next video, actually next week, I'll be going through some hotspots that I saw just from going through the code, looking through it, familiarizing myself with what was going on. And to me, that's kind of the first step, so that's like 1A. After that, I'll work on some tooling, so doing some like CI/CD, some security testing, that sort of thing, all of which will be on video for all of you to see. But that's kind of going to kind of guide the rest of the scalability phase. So we're going to use automated testing to determine where things are potentially not scalable, and we're going to go from there. In that realm, we'll also look at some more traditional scalability things, like where am I using the internal session or something like that. Making sure that we're not inadvertently locking ourselves into a single tenant, single front end model that obviously is not scalable. So then the second phase is going to be what I'm terming configuration. So the way this system was built out, initially there were some things that just needed to happen quickly. So the configuration was built into the code. Things like permissions, things like what dashboard a user should land on when they first enter the app, those sorts of things. Those really shouldn't be in the code. Those should be configured in the database and ideally configurable through the UI. So in the next phase, we're going to start doing some of that. After that, we're going to work on what I'm terming options. So the way I see it, Glassminnow being an order management system, there's a very clear core set of functionality that an order management system should have. But like I've described in previous videos, Glassminnow also has a bunch of other functionality that's been added on that is still useful, but might not be useful to everybody who uses Glassminnow. So in that phase, we'll look at things kind of along the lines of feature flagging or user flagging. Not really permissions, but it's what part of the app or how much of the app does this installation use, that sort of thing, which is one of the, especially these days, one of the major things that is kind of a foundational piece of building a scalable app. So that's important. After that, I want to do some generalization. This app, again, was built for a photo booth company, so there are lots of references in there to photo booth all over the place. Obviously, that's not going to work for any industry that isn't a photo booth industry. So I want to generalize those things away into in some cases it might make sense to talk in terms of pieces of equipment. In some cases, it might make sense to talk about inventory. In some cases, well, in one very clear case, the orders table, the table that stores all the orders, is still called events, because originally this was an event management system for a photo booth company. So, but we're not ready to just rename that table from events to orders right now and still expect everything to work. We don't have nearly the test coverage that we need. We don't have nearly the automated infrastructure that we need in order to trust that we can make that change and still have things work. But hopefully by that fourth phase, we'll be ready to do that. And finally, there's some, I forget exactly how I'm describing it. But some more, customization, that's how I'm describing it. So this is where we get into like more of the metadata arena. So let's say your particular organization has some additional data that you want to store with an order. It's useful to you want to store, I don't know, where you were when you took the order or something like that. It's a very specific piece of data. You want to customize your order form. You want to customize your customer form. You want to customize all of the internal objects, any of the internal objects that are used. And I'll actually talk through some of the different models that I've seen for doing metadata. So I've worked with things like Microsoft's Dynamics CRM that does customization in metadata one way. Then I've worked on systems that are completely 100% customizable, and then basically where all of the objects in the system are fair game. Or then there's things like Drupal or WordPress, which aren't true. They aren't really metadata driven database systems, but because of their nature as content management systems, they do have to be extensible, and they have a different way of doing things. So we'll get into some of that, and again, we're talking a few months down the road at least. So that should be fun. But yeah, those are the 5 phases that I'm going to go through. So we've got scalability, like true scalability. Then we've got configuration. We've got the base, the core functionality versus the options. Then we've got generalization to multiple industries. And finally, our 5th phase will be customization, truly customizing the platform. So hopefully you found this video interesting. Hopefully it gave you some context on where we're going with this project. I do hope you'll stay tuned for Monday's video, where I am going to dive into some of the code. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on and some of the especially security hotspots that I've identified as I've been looking through the code and refamiliarizing myself with the code. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll get notified when that video is released, and obviously when all the other future videos are released. If you want to know more about this project, go ahead and watch some of the previous videos, especially the ones with screencasts in them. Basically from now onward on this channel, it's going to be all about Glassminnow. All Glassminnow all the time. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Go ahead and hit that like button if you do, and I will see you in the next one.